over here at 16 Leo.
Testicles.
Yeah, in high school I wasn't really popping up, but you had me on repeat, you were in a ride. Just a kid with a plan who was on the block, with a girl with a 10 I had a lot. Back in the city for a night I
Testicles.
back with Liddy, don't tell no friends. Gas on 50 from a late night band, I missed it, girl, I won't pretend.
Testy,
Think about
testy.
days in the east, smoke out the windows from under the sheets. It was your first, but it wasn't
I'm a little bit more awake. I woke up at the normal time, but I had breakfast all on my own. So people don't have to deal with the chewing. Everything's chill now. Everything's cool.
You got new goals, you gon' get that shit. Ay, I got 2 phones, I ain't changed one bit. Ay, maybe in time we could both settle down. Ay,
Okay.
but for right now, I'ma need another round. Ay, since I made a profit, I lied your cuz. Say my name in the bed like I'm Heisenberg. Other guys always want to minimize your word. No one like you, boo, trust and search. Hair with the highlights, never saw in hindsight. You were just the right type, it was just the wrong time. Heard you were in town, girl, you down, easy to freak though. One way to find out.
Right. Okay. Where should we begin today? I'm hoping to see Hay again. He asked me a question before, but I never got to answer it. I clipped it out. Clipped it out as in I screenshotted. And I got the comment ready. I just started. Ready? Okay, hood. Hood, I know. Uh-huh. Good in the hood, huh? Right, so good morning. Why is my PC complaining? Yeah, Wave, welcome back in. Yeah, I refuse to believe, whatever this thing is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Since when? What the actual fuck? I refuse to believe. Hi Annie, welcome back. My phone tends to say my notifications are the time I look at them, so I never know how recent they are. Usually I try to start at 5. Usually. Today I just couldn't be fucked. Like consecutive what do you call them? Like consistency, yeah. Apparently it doesn't seem to agree with me. So Speed Royal Ultra Hound. Hold on. But why am I looking this up? Just because of this dog? Uh-huh. There we go. No, it's a quote, Betty. We're still on that Dr. K grind, okay? we're still on that topic, okay? Nothing changed. Okay, so yeah, the dog is there. Right, so it still doesn't change the fact of how stupid this is, in my opinion. Machine, huh? Yeah, how recent is this? When did this card come out? I wonder. Right. So yes, Betty's shitting now. Okay, so let me show you something. So Dr. K, he's going through all these what do you call them? Controversy of what he does on his live stream, giving therapy to people when he's not supposed to. He's pretty much illegally conducting therapy, right? And one YouTuber calls him out on it and he doesn't respond that well. He made one response video and then after that he makes this video called I Got Fired. And hold on.
Taught elsewhere. No one was. So let's take a look at this post by someone who got fired from their job.
Wow.
I got fired from my job because I was really unhappy and was also vocal about it. And I was also caught taking interviews for
Wow. I wish my clickbait game was this strong. Wow. I've never clicked on a video so fast and got so disappointed. Wow. I mean, good on him for keeping the job. It's not like I want him to lose the job. It's just amazing. It's still on topic, but it's not him that got fired. This is misleading though, the title. It's very misleading. And definitely on purpose, I'm assuming. Alright, but you gotta go to Scotland tomorrow. Enjoy. You're off to Japan, right? And Annie, thank you. Thank you. Scotland. The Scots. Alright, Wave was saying, is one of the main normal summons in the deck and fuck you, I love this card. Oh, it came out last year? So, it's dumb. That's what it is. It's dumb. It's stupid. If it didn't come out in the 90s, or even 2000, I'll give 2000 a pass. Yeah. It's dumb. It's dumb. They're running out of ideas. It's just like Pokemon. They just keep coming out with like new designs for, you know, monsters that already exist and make it like they're almost pretending like it's a new monster when it's not. But at the same time, they're pretty much overriding what those monsters used to be. Yeah, not that it matters, but yeah, they just keep coming out with, you know, monsters that have similar abilities, just different looks. And they're not gonna stop. Because the money train just keeps coming in. Just ruin all the childhood for me, please. I feel like 2020 has been a year of like just full-on realization of all the childhood just being ruined because of greed. Maybe it didn't start with 2020, but I think 2020 is a good place to just label all kinds of disappointment within 1 year. Like Mulan was sad, right? Disney didn't do too good. I mean, Marvel's still fresh, kinda, so like Marvel movies are, you know, alright. It's starting to get repetitive now, except for like Spider-Man. That was pretty fresh, I guess. What else? Yeah, Pokemon's ruined, in my opinion. Kids don't agree. Superhero movies are bomb. Some are good. Some are good. Yeah, Annie, I can't relate. 2021 couldn't pass by quick enough, in my opinion. Wave is saying, yo, we did so Popeye powers. What? Last night? That was wild as fuck. What are you talking about? What the fuck is a Popeye powers? What is this? Did you just down a spinach or something? What is going on? What Popeye? You don't even work in the Navy. Oh yeah. This is something crazy.
Russia has ordered its troops into eastern Ukraine. Putin says they're on a peacekeeping mission, but make no mistake about it, there is nothing peaceful about their presence, with lots of reports calling their presence an invasion. President Zelensky addressed Ukrainians tonight saying, "We are not afraid, we won't cede anything." During an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, the West promised Russia it would face consequences, and China did not offer its support to Russia. The US wrote a letter to the UN detailing information that shows Moscow is compiling lists of Ukrainians to be killed or sent to camps once it invades. And in addition to that, the US believes that Russia is preparing for a full-scale invasion of Ukraine after today's incursion. The situation is escalating and getting dark fast, but you can follow me to stay in the loop because
I guess we'll never find out. Popeye power scales. Wave, I don't think that explains anything. What do you mean? Talk about it. Explain this to me. I don't understand. Right. I was hoping to see Masu today, cause he had some spicy takes at the end of the previous stream. Welcome back in. Welcome back in. Speak of Masu. Speak of Masu. Yeah. Did you see though, Masu? Did you see though? Where is it? No, that's not it. You didn't see though? The reason why my title is like that is because Dr. K's title is like that. Oh, excuse me. Popeye. Power scale. Oh, that's what you mean? Ah, right. So it's a fiction thing. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Like, Popeye is literally One Punch Man, isn't he? Oh, no, Masu, I'm talking about how Dr. K titled this video, "I Got Fired." Like, in the midst of, like, this whole controversy that's happening. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. Fun time, everybody. Right, so Haz is back in. Hello. Currently wearing a skirt. Haz is just trying new things, I guess. Right? How do people ignore quotes? What's with that? Right, and Annie's saying after eating spinach. Yeah, One Punch Man. Pretty much. Fuck no, he's much more broken, says Wave. Popeye? He downs a spinach and he kicks ass. Isn't that what his whole format is? Masu is saying, is it a talk about a community member who got fired? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, he's smart though. Using this situation to his advantage. Yeah, that's how business should be. He's a businessman. Such a businessman. Yeah, this is YouTube. You need that clickbait game. Stonks indeed. Very smart. Right, okay. Yeah, Master, you wanna dive in? We got an hour. If you get free. I've been watching a lot of ABBA and Preach. It's so funny. No problem. Do you disconnect your mic? Huh? Yeah, Wedge not here, Nora not here. Probably because I didn't start earlier. So maybe they don't know that we're live and asleep, probably. I'm assuming. Different settings at different time of day with different people? Huh. What do you gotta change? I can't think of a situation where I have to adjust my microphone all the time. Maybe I'm not too involved with what goes on the internet. Maybe I'm not up to your level yet. Oh, you speak softer at night? You're adjusting that for me? Thank you. That's why you sound good. Gotcha. During the day, AC is on, okay. So it's noisy. How's it saying? You ever gonna overcook 2 with them? What? Hold up. Yeah, I don't know. We talked about it, but nothing gets followed through. I think Nora has the game already, but I don't know about Wedge. I think Wedge has it, or has he not? I don't know. But he wants to play Destiny as well. He wants to play Extraction to get some Japanese in, maybe. Right? Okay. Masu's in. Yeah, Destiny 2. Right? 3, 2, 1. Lag. Tada.
Mosh.
Moshi mosh. How's it going? How's it going?
Good. I can speak a little slower now that I don't have 10 minutes like yesterday.
That's good. Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, I'm a bit more awake now. I had better sleep than yesterday, so I feel like I can respond better. Right. Okay, so your point was Mr. Girl, he's on that grift, huh?
Yeah, I think I'd say that's part of it. I don't think he's okay. How do I qualify this? I think you can be genuine and still be motivated by not so pure good intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he thinks what he's doing is correct,
Right.
but I don't think it's just something that Destiny says a lot, right? When he talks about people like on the right and left, it's that most times these people have the same goal or the same idea, but either they have different opinions on how to reach that, or they have the facts that they are operating on do not align with each other, right? And basically, if both groups had the same set of facts they're operating on, they would both be doing the same thing. But because there's a differing set of facts that they're operating on, they have different ways of going about it, right? And I think, in a way, you could kind of graft that onto, sorry, Mr. Girl, where it's like he's operating on a false set of understanding of the world, in a sense. And because I honestly think that if what he believes to be true was true, then he's completely correct in what he's doing. But because I disagree that those are the facts, I disagree with what he's doing, right?
All
And
right.
what I mean by that is he constantly brings up the fact that he's causing harm, right? I guess you could say I align with Destiny's view and probably Erudite's view, where I think Dr. K is a net positive. And, sure, there might be things that he's doing that's, ethically wrong, morally wrong, but there's also a lot that he's doing good. And Mr. Girl seems to really zero in on this kind of purity where it's like, well, that little bad he's doing is very, in his mind, in his hierarchy of like threat or whatever you want to call it, is promoting it to a very high level. So the harm he's doing is really, really bad, right? And at the same time, I don't think that's true. Yeah.
Right. I thought about what you said last time. You said that he is fuck, I've lost the train of thought. You said that it's fine for him to bring this up, yes?
Yes, when it comes to the ethics, the question about ethics and ethics laws, I think that it's a good thing, to bring up, as so people can be more aware of the line that Dr. K is kind of flirting with, right? Or maybe even sometimes overstepping.
Yeah.
I think it's 100% fine to bring that up, because that is a descriptive thing that Dr. K engages with, that people should be aware of, right? And whichever side of the line you fall on, I still think it's an important topic to talk about. It is largely everything after that that I disagree with
Mm.
Mr. Girl on. Yeah.
Okay. And with what Mr. Girl is doing, I'm gonna share my perspective, and you tell me if you agree with it or not. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Excuse me. Okay, so from my point of view, I can look at what Mr. Girl is doing in two ways. So if you put him under a good light, he's trying to keep, like you said, he's trying to keep the concept of, like, therapy, therapists, etc., pure. Like, he's trying to keep it within the rules, making sure that nothing is going out of the law, breaking the law. So bad light, he's snitching.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm.
But do you or is that both sides of the coin, from your perspective?
Just based on what you said about how Dr. K is, providing a net positive, right? So
Hmm.
what he's doing is doing good things, but it's not following the rules.
Right.
So it is up to the people to police him,
Right. Which
right?
I
Yeah.
think is a fine conversation to have.
Yeah.
But especially when it starts to get tempered by the perspectives of other professionals within the industry, right? Which, you know, Mr. Girl has said, he's talked to, I don't know, half a dozen professionals, and they all were shocked and horrified by what's it called? Dr. K's conduct, in his streams and stuff like that. But then you have also other people like Not So Erudite that says, I think it's a little bit more gray, right? And she even pointed out to Mr. Girl in saying, like, could there be a selection bias in the type of people that you're professionals that you're in contact with, right? Could it be that because you have certain views or whatever, the people that you are probably most able to reach out to and talk to are people that would kind of have a similar viewpoint as you, right? So you find this abhorrent, and you only end up talking to other to professionals that think that this is abhorrent, right? Like she doesn't say this explicitly, but basically this is the kind of the context she's painting, is that maybe you're selecting for professionals that are that would agree with you, right? That you haven't sampled a large enough population of professionals in the industry that would kind of give you a better picture of the overall feeling. Because, like Not So Erudite said, she is a professional in the industry. She used to have her own practice, but now I think she scaled back because she's trying to get a higher degree. And so
Mhm.
she's still working, but she doesn't have her own practice anymore. But she doesn't outright disagree with what Dr. K is doing, or it like the question of ethics and Dr. K has made her then kind of question more so ethics laws, right? She goes into this whole thing about how ethics laws are in part crafted, not explicitly written, but they fall in line with what insurance companies want practitioners to do, right? Because basically insurance companies can say, well, we don't want you to engage in this kind of behavior, and if you do, our insurance will not cover it for you, right? So de facto, what ends up happening is that ethics boards start to write those types of things into their laws because they understand that they have no coverage and now they're liable if they cross over into this type of behavior. So the ethics actually ends up in part coming from the wishes of insurance companies, right? And when she brought this up, like Mr. Girl basically just dismissed this or said that this is stupid. But I think it's funny that he would just so readily dismiss something that kind of adds a lot more nuance to his argument, right, about ethics. Because Erudite is a person who had her own practice. She had to deal with, she's still a professional in the industry. She has to deal with these like insurance companies all the time. And she's saying that one part, ethics are meant to protect the client, right? But in another sense, ethics are there to also protect the practitioner as well, because they are covered by insurance companies, right? And if they don't fall in line with behaviors that insurance companies are willing to cover, then they're not protected. So ethics, Mr. Girl kept saying that, well, ethics are like, these ethics rules are meant to protect the client. And Erudite was saying, no, they're meant to protect both parties, actually. And he didn't agree with that, right? But her bigger point, because she ends up going on a rant about insurance companies, is that as practitioners, aren't we supposed to be trying to figure out the best way to help our clients, right? And if there is a third party like insurance companies that are basically gating the types of behaviors that we can engage in to help our clients to our maximum ability, then isn't that also a problem, right? And doesn't that also kind of open up a pathway for people who are willing to push against these rules that literally stop us from giving the best care to our clients in people like Dr. K? That is what he is doing, right?
What's your opinion on what happened with Reckful?
Yeah, very tragic. I used to watch him when I was like in high school, WoW and stuff like that. But in terms of what happened between him and Dr. K, I think is very unfortunate. If I remember correctly, this was still within the first year that Dr. K was streaming.
Right.
And he was still learning a lot about what it means to be a streamer and be in this type, I guess you could call it an industry or just like a content space, right? And how much that changes your interpersonal relationships. And I watched all of those streams.
Mhm.
And I also heard about Reckful taking his life and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, each person, honestly, and this might sound callous, but I find this to be true, and it's probably the best way to operate in your life, is that every person is responsible for their own actions. And while you may feel some kind of guilt or that you may have added to that, ultimately the choice always lands with the person who's making the choice. And Reckful chose to take his life, right? And you can make some kind of argument that maybe the behaviors of Dr. K pushed him towards that, but the ultimate responsibility lies in the person making the choice, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't say that it's very hard to drum up some kind of metric to be like, well, Dr. K did this, and so like 3% of this negative impacting metric, got its way into Reckful's mind or heart or however you want to describe that, right? It's all kind of muddy and feelings and all that kind of stuff, and it's very obvious that Dr. K at least felt a very strong connection with Reckful, and because of that, he might have overstepped the bounds of what he should have done multiple times. Right? I'm not really arguing against that, because I remember watching that video. I think Mr. Girl clips it in his video about Dr. K, where he kind of does that thing with Reckful. It's like, I'll be the person that'll care for you or like love you for 2 years, right? I remember listening to that and being like, oh, fuck, dude, you should not have said that, because even outside of the context of like a maybe therapist and a client, that's the kind of shit that I would be, like personally, I would be pretty hesitant to say to
Mhm.
even my own friends, right? Because that is such a big ask, or that's for yourself, and especially for someone that you know is really looking for that, right? If you can't live up to that expectation, it might turn out to harm them more than not, right? And who's to say that that is actually what they need in terms of you know getting to a more healthy space internally. So yeah, I thought Dr. K got caught up in his feelings, and yeah, I was like, holy fuck, dude, that's a big miss. Should not have done that.
Do you remember any other moments where Dr. K has given in to his emotions rather than staying professional during streams?
Ooh, shit, that's hard. I'm pretty sure I have, especially earlier on, the first year, because
Yeah.
I've, to just to kind of set up more so maybe my Bayesian priors or whatever. I have been following Dr. K since I think before he had like 5,000 subscribers, maybe 10,000, right? When he had like 3 videos up or something like that. And I even was a part of his community for maybe about 6 months on their Discord and every day, where I was kind of working towards being in like a coaching position, because I saw while I was there, that kind of thing came up as well, like if you want to be a coach. But I was so busy with my other in my other job that I didn't have time to spend on it. But I would spend at least 4 hours a day in chat and speaking with kids, right? Speaking with kids in VC or in DMs, because however it started, I think this is something that a lot of people, a lot of kids really need. I went through a lot of stuff as a young adult male, uh, a lot of questions about what the fuck I was doing in life. I also have a history with addiction. Right? I was an alcoholic for 5 years, which almost culminated in me taking my own life. Right. And this wasn't like some I want to take some sleeping pills bullshit. Like I had set up everything, and I was gonna take, my own life with a one of the knives I had for work. I had set up my entire like house. Was gonna do it in my bathtub. Um, I had written out all the emails and stuff, but I had this crazy psychedelic experience like the day before that was supposed to happen with my friends. They got me really high, and it completely transformed my understanding of life. Right. And I understood what got me to that point. And as much as I can, I feel like as someone who has gone through that and came out, healthier, with a broader, more empathetic perspective, it's my moral obligation to help others that I see that are like that. And that was what drew me to Dr. K at first. And actually being a part of that community in Discord, really solidified that.
Sorry, can we be
Um,
distracted for a sec?
yeah.
So you mentioned you were about to take your own life, right? And
Yeah.
you got high, uh, and you decided not to. What made you not to? Like after getting
Okay.
high.
So I'm a fairly lightweight when it comes to like weed,
Mhm.
right? I only smoke very socially. And if then, most times I won't, even if I'm at a party. But this particular night, I was out with my bros. Like these are guys that I would consider like blood, right? I've known these guys since I was like 10, 11.
Right.
And we've been homies since then, right? We've been through a lot of shit together. And they decided, in a way, I was kind of like, well, this is the last hurrah for me, hanging out with these guys that I've known for most of my life. But we had a little cipher going on, and they passed me a joint, and they completely forgot to tell me until after it had gone, around the circle like 6 times. So I'd hit this thing about 5, 6 times. They forgot to tell me that it was a joint that was like dipped in oil, then dusted with keef, and then dipped in oil again and dusted with keef. So this thing was like hella extra potent, right?
Mhm.
And I ended up having a psychedelic experience from that, which is rare but can happen. Most times you'll get that more from edibles or something. And my experience was that I ended up experiencing or like reliving like past memories of when I was a child, right? The, like I broke down fucking crying in their kitchen and shit. Um because when I grew up, you know, my dad used to come home late and we had this really shitty TV and stuff, and he would like eat dinner in the living room, sitting down, you know, with those like really short like fold out tables, you know, and he would eat there like with his shirt off, like watching TV, and I'd be like behind him in my playpen or something. And while I was really high, my friend whose house that was, like when it was time for us to eat, because we had barbecued and stuff earlier in the day, he had brought out a folding table that was the same color as the one like we used to have, and he like, you know, didn't have his shirt on either, like sitting down eating, watching I think it was the Golden State Warriors basketball like championship or whatever it's called in basketball. And that imagery like literally shocked like one of my earliest memories back into my mind. And what came over me, you know, after having like these kind of like memories pop up was that there was a sense of like it's okay to not live up, or it's okay to just be alive, right? Because one of the things that I was dealing with a lot was, you know, I'm known as being this like hyper smart guy who, you know, is very capable when it comes to work and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, I'm still living my life as a fucking like I live in a basement studio, you know. I'm making barely $50,000 a year. You know, I dropped out of college at that point, prior from an electrical engineering program. You know, I was still strictly working class, right? And that was one of the things that really drove me into depression, was this kind of idea that you know, everyone had told me, wow, you have so much potential. Oh, you're like the smartest person, right? Oh, you know, everything would be easy for you, but it wasn't. And I struggled with that idea that, you know, everyone says life should be easy for me, but it's not. And I'm not living up to the expectations that not only they have for me, but I have for myself. And when I was having this experience, this sense of not really understanding, but it was just like an at ease, where it's like, it's okay. You know, it's okay that you're not living up to these ideals, because what are those ideals but just thoughts, right? It's fine to just stay alive. It's fine to keep pushing. Like you don't have to be so hard on yourself for not achieving everything all the time. You know, as long as you're trying your best and you're out there moving in the world, there's always a chance you can achieve that. And so cutting your losses short now, in a sense, is kind of you're giving it, right? You're giving up, and it's all right. It's all right to feel sad too, right? Because you know, I used to, you know, have to be tough Masu all the time, right? Still face, stoic, all that kind of shit. But it's like, you know, you don't have to be that way. Like it's okay to feel negative emotions, but more importantly, stay alive. And you know, after my experience, I kind of it really shook me to the core, and it really gave me a different and wider perspective on life and other people, right? I am much less judgmental on others nowadays, or since that experience, where it's just like, you know, when people were being assholes or being stupid or whatever, I would be like, oh, okay, you're 100% a stupid or an asshole person, right? This is who you are to a core. But after that experience, I'm like, well, maybe they're being stupid for this particular thing, right? Maybe they're just being an asshole right now. Like a person is much more than just their behaviors, you know. A person is partly their relationships with other people, partly their history, right? Partly their thoughts and emotions, and also partly the physical person they are. You know, it's much more complex than just this small facet of behavior you're seeing from a person. So yeah.
Right. So key takeaway is you saw yourself as a failure.
Yep.
Right?
Basically.
And were disappointed constantly, then wanted to take your own life, but you had a revelation, and now you're loosening up, you're okay with who you are, and that's where you're at right now?
Yeah. What's it called? I have a plan when I have a little more time to get like a tattoo, commemorating that experience. And um what I want tattooed is like on my wrist, and it's gonna say, 2015, never landing, in a sense. Because I got so high that like my perception of the world like leveled up. And that's how I feel like what happened, right? I had such a small, narrow-minded perspective on a lot of things in my life. And I had this experience, and it made me just feel like, wow, I had a very, very tiny like understanding of what the world is, right? And what it means to be human in a world. Um, and that has necessarily made me become more empathetic to other people and their struggle. Because I used to blame people, right? It's like, well, you're doing this shit. Well, fuck you, like you did negative things. Now you really deserve, the negative consequences that you receive. You reap what you sow, motherfucker, like down that hill. But while I still think that negative consequences are a thing, right? I'm much more empathetic to being like, okay, well, there's ways that we can help you, right? I don't have to just write you off as a shithead, or a piece of shit that's going to, that should, die alone in a small little corner of the world. I can care for more than just myself nowadays, which I think was a really, really big thing that I never had before.
What shaped you to be that before?
Sorry, say that one more
Like
time.
looking out for yourself and I guess being hard on yourself and also others. What shaped you? What shaped you to be that? I can't English right now. Oh, yeah. Does that question make
Mm,
sense?
what caused me?
To be who you used to be.
Well, that's hard, right? I can only take stabs at that.
Mm.
I can't like psychoanalyze myself. I can only, I'm not a professional or anything like that. But I have read a fair amount of philosophy and
I just want your
theory.
takes.
My thing is that I was a very big exception in my family, right? I am by far, it's gonna sound like humble bragging, but I'm sorry, but it's the fact. Like in my nuclear family, I'm by far the smartest person, right? Like by the time I was in middle school, my understanding of, say, like mathematics and more intricate logic type of chains, like far outstripped my parents. They couldn't keep up with me, right? Obviously, my understanding in the social realm was severely lacking. And I was a little shit kid, right? Just not aware of the bigger implications of life. But when it came to that kind of stuff, right, I didn't have real support beyond that. My parents just thought it was nice that I was smart and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to struggle hard with school and stuff. But there was nothing beyond that, right? Like for me, like looking back on that with what I know, if I had a kid that was exceptionally smart in, say, like logic or logic like things, right? Because I've also gone through that, I would feel like I would have to support them in the sense of constantly giving them more challenges, right? Because one of the worst things for anyone is to be bored, right? When you're bored, you do stupid shit. That's just kind of how it goes. Because you're going to find an outlet for your energy. If it only takes me 5% of my energy to like ace all my classes, then what am I spending the next 95% on, right? Whereas other people, it takes more, it's more taxing, right? So there's that. I feel like my parents really didn't understand how to deal with a kid like that. Secondly, I'm pretty sure my mom is borderline narcissistic. So I learned at a very young age that my mom would claim ownership for any type of accolade that I would get, for overachieving in class and stuff like that. And so, and to this day, I kind of still do this where I don't like to be seen succeeding because it's just been ingrained in me that if other people see me succeeding or whatever, then someone else is going to take, that kind of, what is it called? They're going to take ownership of it beyond me. And you know, I didn't understand why my mom did that a lot, right? Where it's like, you know, I did something, I self-studied on my own to get super good at, say, like math or say, you know, like English or whatever. And my mom would brag to everyone about how amazing I am, you know, in front of me to other people. And I'm
Sounds
just
like an
like,
immigrant parent thing.
why the fuck are you doing that, right?
Mm.
One, that's kind of embarrassing. But two, like, you're not me. You didn't achieve this, right? And it even goes back to the whole like, my English level is way higher than my mom's, right? I mean, we're from fucking Hawaii, right? So Hawaii doesn't have, you know, we're like bottom 40 in the states when it comes to like English development, right? So not a lot of people have great English skills here. And but she would like take ownership of that, you know. And a lot of the other parents are like, "Oh, you must be doing so much for your child for him to like succeed that way." And I'm like, "Bitch, no, I did it all myself, right?" But she'd say like, "Oh, you know, I tried." I'm like, "You're fucking lying to them. You're taking ownership of something that I worked really hard to you know achieve, and you're saying it's because of what you did when you did it. You know, you just watch fucking soap operas all day, you know." Um,
Hold on, I
so
need extra perception. Do you love your mom?
yes, I do.
Okay. Right. But you're
Um,
frustrated because you feel like you can't own your own success because she keeps taking it away.
well, now I do. Just because I don't give a fuck.
Hmm.
Because she has such a small like influence in my life, it doesn't matter, right? But
Right.
I definitely felt this a lot when I was a kid. Yeah. And the thing is, I disagree with my mom on probably like 99% of things. But she's still my mother, right?
Yeah.
So I love her. And that's what it is. You know, she's like, I don't know. We basically do not align in anything. And that it's frustrating. It's hard, you know, because say me and my younger sisters, um, we disagree on a lot too. But at the end of the day, we understand that we're disagreeing with each other's opinions and we don't hate each other, right? We're
Right.
siblings. We care for each other. But we just like when I argue with them or they argue with me, it's because they're attacking my opinions and my, you know, perspective. They're not attacking me as a person. Um, unfortunately, my mother doesn't see it that way. You know, she believes that if you attack her her opinions, you're doing a personal attack on her, right?
Hmm.
And there's a concept in like psychoanalysis theory or whatever, like Freud shit. What is it called? Like something. Basically, it's the concept that um that people okay. So like there's a framework of understanding in which people can separate their feelings and thoughts from them as a person, right? And there's people are on a scale from like, you know, like I don't know what the scale is, but it's like, you know, say like 5 and 1, right? And level 5 is the best you can be, where you have a full understanding that your thoughts and your emotions can be separated from who you are physically as a person, right? So because your thoughts and stuff can change any day, you know, depending on like what you eat, you can feel a different way, you know, that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
that so your thoughts and opinions and feelings, you know, should be separated in a lot of instances from you as a person, right? And then level 1 is like where you believe your thoughts and emotions are you, right? You can't separate the two. And like psychotherapy tries to develop or make people more aware of this concept so they can get to the point at level 5, right? Where they can understand that in a way your thoughts and feelings are separate from you as a person. And that any attack on those things shouldn't be taken as a true attack on you as an existence, right? I feel like I'm very much on that side. My sisters are very much on that side. My father is very much on that side. And my mother is the exact opposite, right? If you even disagree with her about stuff like, you know, she might say like, oh, it's kind of cold today. And then everyone in the house is like, no, it's kind of warm actually, right? She'll be like, oh my God, are you saying I'm stupid? And we'd be like, what the fuck, dude? You know, like we're disagreeing with your like assessment because to us it's like it's not cold, right? And she's like, yeah, but if you're saying that it's not cold, then you're saying that I'm wrong, which means you're saying I'm stupid. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, slow down, right? And it's difficult between me and my mom, because of that kind of shit, right? But it doesn't mean I don't love her. So
I get you.
yeah.
So I just wanna sandwich Betty's perspective. Betty was mentioning in the chat, wasn't she just proud because she loves you? So that was in reference to how you were talking
Yeah.
about, yeah, you would do well, but then your mother would, I guess, take the credit for like raising you the way you are.
Right. And so I used to think this when I was younger until I started to get to a position where the things that I was achieving would eclipse what she has achieved in her life. Right. And that's when I really realized, no, she actually would like me to fail more often than I do, because at least it would preserve her understanding of herself as being some kind of special, like educated person. Right. She, in her family, I think both sides of her family was the first college educated person, right? She was a non-traditional student, so she had us first, and then she went back when we were a little bit older to get her degree. And she always kind of wore it around as like, you know, some kind of badge of superiority over people, even though she never really went into, any kind of industry that really that she could pull her degree from. And she got a design degree, and the only company she worked for in industry was one that pampered her and didn't actually push her to do what her full job description would entail. And when that company closed down because the owners wanted to retire, they gave her a glowing recommendation to like one of the best like design firms in Hawaii, and she lasted 5 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah. And ever since then, she's always called herself a designer and all these types of things. But in like the last, like, I don't know, 10, 12 years, she's designed maybe like 4 rooms in houses, right? And whereas like my sister is also a designer and she already has prototypes out, she's getting paid by entrepreneurs to like build stuff, right? She really doesn't like that my sister is doing these things. And even with me, because I used to work for my family's company until my mom literally drove me out. And she literally went behind my back and started talking a lot of shit to my father, who was also a part owner of the company, and really tried to turn him against me, saying stuff like, like, oh, why are you letting Masu like create these systems, without you like saying yes for him to do it? Like, don't you think he should talk, he should talk to you or get your okay for it? And my dad's like, it sounds good, like whatever. If he wants to like create systems to help us work better, like in Excel or like different types of like Google Doc stuff, like that's fine. But my mom would be like, yeah, but don't you see? He's trying to like take over the company from you. And she kept saying shit like that. And I didn't know about it until my sisters basically ratted on my mom and said, dude, you should listen to what like mom is saying to dad. Like she's literally painting you as someone who's trying to steal the company from them. And I was like, what the fuck? And it culminated to a point where I was like, yo, you got to stop talking shit like about me to dad, because I'm not here to like steal anything from you guys. This is the family fucking business. I want to make everyone here millionaires, dude, because this is how you pay for the girls like college. This is how you pay for the house. You know what I mean? Like this is the one thing that lifts up our entire like family. Why the fuck would I want to play this stupid game? Like I don't need to own this company. I just want to produce things that will increase our chances of making a shit ton of money, right? And yeah, so that happened enough to the point where it's like, fuck this, dude. I can't be a part of this, because while I can separate business and family, my mother couldn't, right? My mom is not a very business oriented person, and I would constantly tell her, this is the wrong business decision to make. Stop spending money on this, right? I don't care if it makes you feel like an entrepreneur by spending money on this. This is a sinkhole. You're gonna lose that, $10,000 you're trying to invest in here. Like what the fuck? And I've been proven right every single time I've told her that. And she would still be like, well, she'd like project shit to me and be like, well, it's because you wanted me to fail or wanted this to fail. And I'm like, fuck no, dude. But, as someone who has ran companies, as a sous chef, and as I've ran also large portions of a business, being kitchen managers for multiple restaurants. Like, I understand money, cash flow, and like labor a lot, right? And you can't just spend money willy-nilly just because you see some fuckhead on like TV, who comes from fucking money, spending shit tons of money on things, to be seen, or like, marketing. Like, why would you even market when you don't even have like any why would you market when you don't even have systems in place to increase your productivity, right? Shit like that. It's like you're fucking wasting all this money. But yeah, so while I understand where you and Betty might be coming from, with the idea that my mom cares about me, so that's why she's being proud. I think time has shown that no, it's because she cares a lot about how she is seen by other people, right? And when her children do well, it makes her look good. And she's tried to take what's it called? What's the word I use? Not responsibility, but for stuff that like my sisters have achieved, right? Like, my sister is a main author in a couple research papers on cancer. My other sister, like I said, is now is getting paid to make like phone apps and stuff like that, as a designer. And my mom tries to take responsibility for all those things and be like, oh, it's because of me, when we all did that when we weren't living with my parents, right? We all were doing this shit on our own, with very minimal input from them. And even my mom was very much against my youngest sister going into design. She said, oh, you can't do this. Like, why would you even want to do this, right? And she was actually really against my sister getting into this industry. And now that my sister is succeeding in the industry, she basically says, oh yeah, it's because I supported her and all this kind of shit, which isn't true. She didn't. Yeah.
Question. Do you think your mom is capable of feeling what you felt when you felt like you were a failure?
Oh yes. I believe everything that my mom suffers from is a lack of self-confidence, right? It's a lack of an understanding of her own self. Because everything she does, all the negative behaviors that she engages with, point to preserving her own image of herself, right? As a person that is special, that as a person that is a designer, as someone that is highly educated, anytime any of those like descriptors she's added to her own self-image are threatened, she gets angry, she lashes out, she gets into arguments, that kind of stuff. Like, she's not able to see herself as she is, right? To be honest about herself, because she's afraid to. She's a coward, I think. Unfortunately, how do I say? Those people that never take chances. The only time they decide to make a choice is because they've heard someone else do it before, or they have to like double check, triple check, 10,000th time check to make sure that other people have succeeded doing the same thing, and then they'll choose to do it, right? But by the time they make this choice, it's been like 4 months, and the window of opportunity has long passed. She's that kind of person, right? She doesn't want to fail. She's terrified of failure, which I'm just gonna put this out there, especially for for the younger people out there. Don't be afraid of failure, right? Failure is actually the norm if you think about things. Success is the exception. And that's why we care so much about success, is because you're going to fail a lot. And it's okay to fail, because it's not like you lose everything when you fail, in terms of your understanding of the world, right? Every time you fail, it's a lesson learned, or should be a lesson learned. And if you're not learning from those lessons, then you're kind of doing it wrong, right? And it's only a failure if you stop at that point and say, okay, we're done. Because you can turn almost every failure into a success as long as you keep trying. But my mother hasn't failed enough in her life to understand that on a like deep level, right? I failed a lot in my fucking life. Like, when it comes to like girls, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to, you know, projects I work, like personal projects I work on, fucking art, like everything, right? I have failed so much in those things that I learned how to succeed in them. And failure isn't really a big thing that I'm afraid of anymore, right? Because sometimes you fuck up. Sometimes it happens. But I hope to God that I'm fucking like learning from my mistakes, right? My mom has none. My mom is super sheltered. And she got with my dad when she was very young. My dad, you know, was he's a carpenter. He makes a lot of money. And any kind of failure that she has wrought upon herself, she's never felt the full consequences of. It's always been absorbed by either her family or my father, right? So in a sense, she's never learned to deal with the negative consequences of her own failures. And because she's never gotten comfortable with negative consequences, now just the very idea of being wrong or failing is what's it called? Is terrifying for her. You know, it literally makes her stop moving in a sense. Like she'll like, you know, one of those defense mechanisms is not making a choice until it's too late to make a choice. Like the choice doesn't matter anymore, right? And she often does that when it's like a business opportunity, when it's a project that my dad could be, you know, gunning for and trying to be awarded. But it's a little bit bigger than, you know, my dad's like my mom is comfortable with, right? And he would have to like hire a little bit more people. You know, that's a risk. And she literally won't give him like a yes or no for weeks until that project is already done and has been awarded to someone else. And then she'll be like, well, yeah, we should have done it. But then my dad would be like, I've been asking you this entire time, should we go for it? You know, and she just won't give an answer.
Do
So-
you think you've, and this is like intentionally general, do you think you've failed enough?
What does enough mean? What's the operation on that?
Interpret it however you like.
I think I have a lot more failures to go. I think it's just something that the more you live, the more you fail. And then the more you fail, the more you learn how to succeed. So I don't think like I'm going to stop failing or that I want to stop failing. It's just that it's going to happen in the future. And I better be aware enough to learn from those failures. So I don't think you ever stop failing as you live.
Yeah. Okay. Right. 5 to 7. I have to go. Thank you very
Shit.
much.
It's already that time.
I enjoyed that conversation. If it was a conversation, it felt more like an interview actually. But I like that. I enjoyed that. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing, Masu.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I'll catch
All right,
you
man.
next
I'm
time.
jumping off then.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Let's cut it.
What's got it? Yeah. Bye bye. Right. Ah. Isn't that nice to have a different perspective in life? Like to listen to what people got to share and also to live that in your head. Oats curry, huh? Yeah. So that was Masu, everybody. Quite enjoyed that conversation. It feels wrong to call it a conversation. And I've been saying the same thing over and over again. Not saying anything new. Right. Yeah, Flakes came in the middle of it, right? And yeah, has caught the beginning. Yeah, Wedge is in now. I don't know, it gives me a lot to think about. Who's Joe Nakadashi? Who's that? Alright, so Baba is in here as well in case nobody noticed. There's no fucking way nobody notices Baba, right? So, like I've never really had a high standard for myself. You know, if I make a small achievement, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't really go further. I'm not motivated or ambitious. I just like to avoid problems. And when you try to achieve better things in life, it usually comes with more risks. So that's how I live my life. It doesn't have to be your way. And like from listening to Masu, been thinking for a while of you know, like have you guys ever heard of how like sons would be a lot more closer to the mother and the daughters would be a lot more closer to the father? Sometimes I feel like that's an instinct that gets passed down, like through genetics, because your father was in love with your mom. So if you come out printed like the father, then instinctively you might like the mother more than the father, because you came from the blueprint of your father. Does that make sense? And vice versa. Yeah, that's how I think about it. I mean, that's not necessarily the case, but if you had favorites for your parents, it would make sense for that to be, I guess, obviously I have no research backing this up. It's just my perception. Yeah. My point of view. Right. I have been boring, huh? I enjoyed that. I don't understand. Right. But like listening to Masu talk about his mom, I was also thinking about how like I have few things that I don't like about my own mother too. Right? The fact that she's too nice, she says yes to everything. And she does make wrong kind of money decisions, but it's all like well intended. It's for other people most of the time. Like she was just overly selfless that I became so frustrated, because at the end of the day she'd have nothing left and she was satisfied by that. I can't relate. But sometimes I catch myself doing the same shit. And I get mad because, you know, who am I to say anything about what my mother does when I literally do the same thing? Right. But yes, I was thinking about that while, you know, listening to the mother thing. Yeah. Yeah, so Masu was saying, I'm not trying to hate on my mom here, I was just trying to explain my context. Yeah, and 1 hour is not enough to cover a person's entire life, obviously, so we're not gonna see every moment that, you know, a person has experienced. It's just, you know, one perspective. What are you gonna do? That's life. That's life. That's life. I don't know the rest of the song. Okay. An hour is too much. Flakes, you're next. You're next. Let's do next. It's you. In the next stream. I'll be waiting for you. Talk about your life. I'm sure you're old enough and feel comfortable enough for that. But yes, Masu, thank you very much for sharing. I did enjoy that. It was supposed to be a Dr. K talk, but yeah, I mean, there's enough of that on YouTube anyway. There's enough of that on Twitch. Why can't we focus on us? Rather than, you know, someone that we never even spoke to, I guess. Not directly anyway. Right? So yes, I'm ending the stream. Thank you very much for watching. Don't die, stay alive. Just know that, you know, I am very grateful for you existing. Thank you very much for existing. I think Erudite is currently streaming. Let's go to Erudite. Yeah, Koma, good morning, good night. Good morning, good night. Right? マス喋ってたよ。Oats curry, indeed. Oats curry, everybody. Right. So rating. Here we go. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye. Work time, work time. It's work time. It's work time. Here we go.